And what's up, cyberspace cadets? It's IRATE Prostate. It's Monday. It's IRATE Monday, as a matter of fact. That's right, with Chaos 120. As a matter of fact, I've got the whole shebang. I got, no, not the whole shebang, but enough here to get something done. Let's say that, all right? In the studio with me tonight are the lovely TerraSynn, who cannot hear or speak to me now. Vetran Mountainman.
Hey everybody, how y'all doing tonight?
And we'll wait for the others to become mic available before we introduce them. So yeah, I was talking to Vetran Mountainman before we had we went live, and was telling about the title of this episode is "Out of My Car" and hashtag "Into My Feelings." And there is apparently, and I want to thank Johnny Hellcat for sending this to me because it really made my day. This hashtag movement began, let's see, all right, I'll just read it straight out of the BuzzFeed, all right? It's viral internet challenges bring out the best and worst in people. And recently, the biggest viral trend to take over Twitter and Instagram is the hashtag in my feelings challenge, okay? And because we can't have nice things, participants turned the wholesome dance challenge, which was do a happy dance, and try to do, improve on it, or do your happy dance or whatever. It's mutated and morphed into people jumping out of cars. And so
where are we going to end with this, Irate? I mean, seriously, this is getting insane. First, we had the Tide Pod challenge. Then we had these kids snorting condoms up their freaking noses. Now we got them jumping out freaking cars. I mean, let's be real. What the heck, people?
I think that the herd is thinning itself in the using technology, as its primary mode of doing so. Temma has joined us, so say hi to everybody. Temma the Hun.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me on.
And I guess you caught what we're talking about. This goofy into my feelings challenge, and and it started out as just people dancing. I'm in my feelings, man. That's how I'm feeling. I'm feeling good, or maybe do a sad dance or some shit like that. Well, some genius started. He jumped out of a car, and obviously had a lot of people, a lot of followers, and because this thing's gotten followed into. The post on this thing right now has 627,000 likes on it, so you can imagine, how viral this has gotten. So, we got a bunch of young people jumping out of cars. So, there's that.
Well, okay, I had to step away for a moment. I apologize. What on God's green earth possessed people to jump out of perfectly good moving vehicles?
Insanity. I mean, I've come out of perfectly good helicopters, and I regret doing that. Now, it was fun at the time, and I was attached to a safety rig, but still, I realize now I was crazy doing that.
As a matter of fact, I'll go ahead and pop a link into the chat.
I mean, anybody who tells you they weren't crazy coming out of a perfectly good helicopter or jumping out of a perfectly good airplane has not come to the realization that they were flirting with death, okay? Now, they'll tell you it was fun, just like I'll tell you it was fun. And it was a lot of fun, but it was also crazy as all get out.
Yeah, no doubt.
Now, why would you want to do that from a car where you can't have a safety harness?
Well, yeah, exactly.
The only thing is you're crazy.
Exactly. I think somebody was camming themselves, and they forgot they were moving, and they were doing their dance, and then they decided to get out of the car to do the dance, and of course, bing, it followed. They followed down because they were still moving, and as they say, the rest is history. So this is one of the more recent mutations, and Yeah, man. Come on in, Tennessee.
Hey, Tennessee, how you doing, man?
Yeah, just go ahead and hop in. I got you set to just pop into the live studio. Just grab it on. Come on in.
Okay, I'm glad the herd is thinning itself in such a fashion so at least we can laugh at them for being this fucking dumb. But why has nobody told them that leaving something moving with round stuff you can fall under will cause them harm? Is this something that we can tell them that they can have 486,000 genders, but we can't tell them that physics is a thing?
Well, physics is, white supremacist now, Tema. Didn't you hear? All science is...
Oh, that's right. That's right. Math is sexist. Oh.
Yeah, math is sexist, and all science is inherently Western imperialism. That's why
I jumped in at a really nice time. What's up, everybody?
Hey, Tennessee Marine, how you doing, man? You fast roped, haven't you?
Not out of a helicopter, no, but I have off of a structure. But that was more repelling, so...
Yeah, but still, once again, was that not crazy of you to do?
Yeah, I would never jump out of a perfectly good airplane or a helicopter. That's why I didn't go Army Airborne.
See? And this guy served too. He knows what I'm saying. It's insane to come out of those vehicles. And those of us that did it realized it afterwards that we were nuts when we were doing it.
Right.
We had a lot of fun doing it, but it's a nut thing.
Yeah, man. Sorry, man. I didn't know if IRATE wanted me on his channel today. I'm coming in hot. I'm super pissed off, man. I was in a little Twitter war earlier, trying to fucking watch Gulf City and getting a million fucking notifications and shit.
Is this something you want to talk about now, man?
Oh, dude, we have females in this call as well, so it might be kind of interesting to get the female perspective. Okay, I'm not going to name names because she doesn't deserve more attention, which she is obviously trying to get. But a large Twitter person, a very large, like she has nearly 6,000 subs, posted a tweet or something, and I agreed with it. It was about guys asking or sending nudes to women, like asking women to send them nudes. And her tweet basically said something like, you need to check the person's age before you do that, and don't be an idiot, which I agreed with. And I was like, or you could just not ask women for nudes, any woman for nudes, because that's kind of fucking scummy. And then it turned into this huge, like, Twitter battle where she was, like, retweeting me saying I was lying and trying to manipulate my opinion and, go back and, backtrack on what I had said, which literally the only thing I said was, don't ask for nudes from any woman, especially if they're a stranger on the internet. I think that's pretty reasonable.
Sounds like good advice to me, man.
Common sense, from what I can tell.
I don't really have a problem with that statement.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden,
good statement.
And then all of a sudden, it was this like, well, I have a boyfriend, and I met him through the internet, and he asked for nudes. So, like, what's your point? Now, like, the thing that got me the most is I said, like, how did I say it? I said, don't ask any woman for nudes, especially if they're a fucking stranger on the internet. Okay, that's what I said. And she was like, that's a retarded expectation. And I was like, how is that retarded? That's just being a good guy. You don't ask women for nudes. And she was like, well, my boyfriend asked for nudes, and I met him through the internet. I was like, well, obviously I'm not fucking talking about that. I just wrote a quick little tweet, added a GIF, because I was agreeing with you. In fact, I was trying to make another point to what you were saying in agreement with you. But yeah, dude, it turned like she sucked this. Like, apparently my Twitter got flagged for harassment just now from one of her followers. She would like retweet everything that like all three of the people that agreed with her were tweeting out talking shit about me. And yeah, dude, it was just really lame and stupid and faggy.
You're gonna have to tag me so I can go poke at them, please.
Oh, it's like the first thing on my Twitter feed.
Okay,
all right, everybody, it's time to start
it.
a new hashtag. We've got hashtag free Scooby, and we're going to have to hashtag free Tennessee Marine, too.
Yeah, no shit.
So everybody join me in hashtag free Tennessee Marine tonight.
I mean,
No. I still got fucking Twitter up, even though that guy said he was flagging me for harassment, just because I dared to clarify my statements, But yeah, I guess that was that was what I was trying to get at is, hey, you know what's scummy and fucked up when guys ask women for nudes online, especially if they're strangers. I think that as a guy, that's pretty fucking shitty to do.
It really is. I mean,
now obviously, what you do in your relationship, that's between you two. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck if people are dating on the internet and they want to send fucking nudes to one another. Like, that's fine. You're dating. Obviously, you're not fucking strangers. But if it's just some random person you've heard on Discord and you know that they're a woman because of their picture or because of their voice or their whatever, still. Yeah, that's still not, that's still just a woman who you know nothing about, even if she's like, oh, I'm single and blah, blah, blah. Like, don't ask for fucking news. It's just scummy and fucking low.
Because
to be fair, man, I felt a little uncomfortable when I had a female friend of mine send me nudes when I first got a smartphone. She's like, You just got a smartphone, you need a nudie pic. And she sent me a selfie of her breasts. And I'm like, thanks.
Right.
Cool. I wouldn't have ever asked her for that, because don't get me wrong, I like her. She's great people. And, in the past, we've done some things together, but we weren't together. Okay, somebody's making a lot of noise there.
No, I'm walking through the parking lot.
We had spent some time together in the past, but we weren't currently together, and that, that just, it felt kind of weird, and I wouldn't have ever asked her for that.
Right. Well, I mean, it's one of those things, dude. Like, if you're over the age of 18 and you're a female and you're like, hey, Tennessee's fucking, good looking, I'm going to send him, some booty pics. Like, all right, well, thanks for that, but I'm not going to ask for it.
And I'm certainly not going to share them.
Exactly, dude. But, like, I don't know if you guys have been catching up on the latest drama on Twitter and everything. But,
which one?
Yeah, apparently that fucking anal vape dude has, gotten nudes from a 16-year-old girl after she told him that she was 16.
Yeah.
Oh, that's scummy.
So
very scummy.
Yes, it's scummy. But have you seen the people that are associated with that group?
Oh no, I don't care to see what they look like or anything else. But yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, it just seems like I just spent the last hour or two in a little gay ass fucking Twitter argument with a person that I agreed with for the most part, and literally all I was saying is, hey, if you're a guy on the internet and you associate or hang out or pal around with females, don't be a scummy piece of shit and ask them to send nudes, regardless of if they're over 18 or not, because that's just kind of fucking scummy and pathetic,
Yeah.
And that's all I was saying. And she was like, no, you were trying to say don't ask any woman ever for nudes. And my boyfriend sends me nudes. Blah.
Well, it's a good idea. Don't ask people for fucking nudes. This isn't Playboy. It's the goddamn internet. If you want to go exchange nudes, go to fucking Pornhub or something. Don't do that on Twitter.
Right, dude. And yeah, apparently that was the big thing, because me, writing a quick little tweet in support of what someone says and not, elaborating my entire opinion on it like I have just now when I came in, that would take a lot of tweets to say all that, correct?
Right, yeah.
What I've just been saying. So I literally just said, yeah, or, just don't ask any woman for nudes, especially if they're a stranger on the internet.
Absolutely.
That's all I said. And that one tweet started all of that Twitter drama. And yet,
and don't send unsolicited ones either.
Yeah, and this dumb cunt with nearly 6,000 fucking followers can only get the same 350 followers fucking douchebags to try and white knight for her, and she retweets them to try and prove a point. And I don't know, dude. It was so fucking faggoty and lame, and I hate the internet. But anyways, besides that, okay, I'm not pissed off. Do the ladies in the house agree with me for what I said?
I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. The one thing I like is that I'm married and over 40, so I get solicited far less than a lot of my younger counterparts.
Okay, cool. Okay,
Well,
so
to be fair, you're still a very attractive lady, Atima, so I don't understand why you're not.
Oh, you guys are sweet. Thank you. But
I think most people are afraid to ask Atima because they know that she doesn't play that dumb shit, and they don't want to start that fire. But yeah, dude, that's what happens when you go against someone who has that big sub count. You know, Twitter intellectual guys. You know, they fucking have to retweet the same 3 people to try and prove a fucking point that they're winning the argument or some dumb shit. Fuck off. So, yes, in case anybody wants to know, Tennessee's Marines' official stance on this is don't be a scummy fucking douchebag to women on the internet. Fucking sue me if you disagree, faggots.
I agree with you, and if somebody tries to come at you about it, tell me and we'll come stand up to them together. Because that's
I could have tagged. Oh, dude, I could have tagged so many of my female friends who have much more higher followers than her and everything else, and they would have been like, "What is this dumb cunt talking about?" So, but see, I'm not the type to do that. I don't have to go get backup from my online pals. I handled the situation perfectly fine. I was like, okay, yeah, if you're in a relationship, you can send nudes to your person, your partner. There's nothing wrong with that. What the fuck are you talking about? Asking random women online whether you know them or not is scummy, and it's pathetic. So, okay, but whatever.
There's places for that. It's called Tinder or Pornhub or Match.com or one of those stupid fucking places.
X-Hamster?
Yeah, whatever. You know,
all sorts of places.
Just not Twitter, not Facebook, not DeviantArt. You know, the places where kids go.
Well, not only that,
I'm part of a few adult-only groups on Facebook where some adult content gets shared, but they're adult-only groups.
Right. And yet again, guys, I'm not trying to say that, you know, you can't be adults with one another. You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason, like, let's say I met some really cool chick through, you know, Twitter or YouTube or whatever, and we really bonded, and I liked her, and she was single, and I was single, and, you know, we were both over age and over the age of 18 and blah, blah, blah. And we had a little flirtatious thing back and forth. What we do and what she's comfortable with is fine. But if she's not comfortable with it, or she feels like I'm trying to be scummy to her, I don't want to do those type of things to a girl that I care about, because whether it's the internet or not, I don't like treating women like shit. Now, don't get me wrong, if you be a dumb fucking cunt to me on fucking Twitter, I'm going to call you a dumb, angry fucking cunt because you're acting like a dumb, angry fucking cunt.
Right.
But other than that, you know, I'll still hold the door open for you as you slap me in the face, I guess. I don't know.
Well,
Tennessee, stop talking about our private messages.
That was actually leads into what I was going to say. DMs are DMs. They aren't supposed to be public. They're supposed to be kept between the people discussing them. I get really irritated when I see people screen capping DMs. To me, it's a violation of communication on the internet.
Mm-hmm. Oh, dude, and she's one of those fucking, like, she's one of those YouTube, Twitter type people who is like, you used a straw man. That's a logical fallacy. Dude.
I call people out for bad rhetoric all the time, man, but I also back up my bad rhetoric by giving them good rhetoric.
I know, dude, but if you come at me with that debate class bullshit, especially when you're clearly in the wrong, I'm just gonna laugh at you and call you a dumb, angry, fat cunt. I don't care. Like, fuck, I don't care. It's just stupid,
and
dude.
Now I need to send you a whole bunch of tweets tagging you saying that's an ad hom. This is a straw man. Your logical fallacy is sexy. I'm gonna harass you now, Tennessee. You just asked me to.
Oh God. Son of a bitch. People know my kryptonite now, goddammit. Just tweet at me tweet at me that's a logical fallacy or that's a straw man. I'm gonna lose my shit on you and start calling you names, goddammit.
And those are ad homs,
I saw your tweets and I would have gotten to them, but I was dealing with my own bullshit with Twitter.
Yes. See, man, I missed yours in the middle of arguing with about 53 crazy progressives that were yelling at me for demanding specifics about the necessity to impeach the president and how his interaction with President Putin today was treasonous. And
Oh yeah,
all
I
that
was hoping.
jazz.
I was hoping we actually might be able to talk about something non-drama, gay related.
That's kind of the point of this this deal right now.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, I'm sorry, man.
No.
I came in.
No,
I
that's
came in hot.
perfect.
You know what? You were a good. You know what? You were a good brother. You let me come in. You let me vent a little bit. It was entertaining. I made people laugh. It's all good. It's all good. Thank you.
That's what it's about, dude. You know, and so all right. We're kind of like shifting gears, but I totally agree with everything you said, man. It's cringy as fuck for any kind of person over the age of 18 to solicit any person of the opposite sex for nudes if you don't know them personally and are not in a relationship with them. It's dumb. Anyway.
And guess what? If you're trying to be in a relationship with them, I don't think most women like talking to a guy for a couple months, never meeting them, and then all of a sudden, hey, baby, send nudes. Like, whatever. Yeah. Sorry, guys, I'm not a scummy piece of shit on the internet, or at least I try not to be. But hey, but yeah.
Hey,
so apparently,
class.
Yeah, thanks. Right, some of us actually have class and a backbone. But yeah, dude, I saw all that shit. Apparently, fucking Twitter was melting down, dude. I was out in town taking care of IRL shit. Like, I didn't even pay attention to streams today. I think I caught like 5 minutes of the Kumite, and that was it.
Yeah. So this morning, of course, President Trump had his meeting in Helsinki with Vladimir Putin, President Putin. And, of course, the Democrat line is that he gave away the farm because he didn't demand everything from Putin immediately. He was actually trying to work some diplomacy there, and he was talking with him, trying to establish some communications. The Democrats are demanding, of course, that the Russians that were responsible for taking out the Facebook ads be turned over to the United States for prosecution. And, of course, what did Russia say to that? They said, well, only if you agree to turn over Americans that we say are guilty prosecution.
Okay.
I can live with that.
Doesn't sound too bad, actually.
It sounds pretty direct and even.
That's exactly what I would expect to hear out of Russia, which is why I don't ever expect to see those Russians that are accused of election meddling in the United States.
Well, you know what would be funny though? It really does seem like there's been a shift in more ways than one from liberal to conservative. It really does seem like the conservatives are more liberal than the quote-unquote liberals nowadays. Because if you think about this, anti-war has always been a big part of the left, you know what I mean, of liberal leftist ideology. It always has been. They were always, the hippies and, make love, not war type stuff. Now it's like, make America great again, folks. Like, hey, guys, maybe we don't need to be constant bitter enemies with Russia, who has enough nuclear weapons to, end the world. Maybe that's not a bad idea, that we're okay with them. And the liberals are like, Trump's a fucking traitor. He's a fucking Putin puppet. Impeach him. And it's like, the one side that's calling for peace is the conservative, make America great again, folks. And the ones who are acting like they want Trump to be a fucking, I don't know, douchebag to, a nuclear-powered country are wanting war. It's so fucking confusing, man.
Well, I think part of the problem there, man, is the idea that the conservatives have been the warring party. I mean, even during the Civil War, it was actually the Democrats that started the whole thing.
Yeah.
When you look at it, actually, Clinton got us into Somalia. Clinton got us into Kosovo, Bosnia-Herzegovina. Clinton assisted in the importation of material to Iraq that initially created the sarin gas that caused the whole WMD debate. He ignored the Taliban in Afghanistan. Now to be fair, H.W. Bush ignored the Taliban too. He should have dealt with them more directly than he did.
Well,
and we should have never let Saddam survive the Kuwait War.
No, we shouldn't have been. I mean, at one time, we were even arming... Well, back then, it wasn't the Taliban. It was the
Mujahideen, yeah. Exactly.
Mujahideen, yeah, and shit. So, yeah, dude,
well,
but here's the funny...
To be fair, one of my NCOs who served in the First Gulf was 50 miles outside of Baghdad before they turned him around and told him, no, you can't go sack Baghdad. And I'm like, wait a minute. If we were 50 miles from freaking Baghdad, why didn't we just go ahead and freaking sack it in Desert Storm and be done with the whole damn thing?
Well, a lot of people have always said that Bush only went into Iraq to finish his daddy's war. You know.
To be fair,
I
they
think
did
it
have
was
weapons
more
of mass
oil than
destruction.
anything else. No, they didn't. They had
Did
broken
they?
those down. They were in pieces all over the place. They weren't really viable to be used.
I think they did have them. I think that what they did was when the UN had set up for those inspections and shit, they just popped them over the border into Syria. You know, because
That's
most
possible.
of that shit
Well-
was mobile, man.
I
Yeah.
know this much from a guy who I also served with. He was one of my drill instructors, and he went to Iraq second go around, not Gulf, not
Yeah.
the Gulf War.
Your
the
Operation
actual
Iraqi Freedom.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was in that one, and he said, like, we didn't give a fuck about the oil. Like, they were lighting it on
Yeah.
fire and everything else. We didn't give two shits. We never protected that shit.
Well, 82nd jumped in to stop the oil derricks from being set on fire to stop the toxic gas. After
It
we
was- it
sacked
was never about- it
after we
was never
sacked
about-
Baghdad, they left them though.
I
After we
wasn't
sacked
talking
Baghdad,
about-
They left them.
I wasn't talking about Iraqi oil. I was talking about control of the oil industry. One
Now,
of the biggest
now
reasons
that-
we were pissed off was because he wouldn't play ball with us and give us a cheaper price. We thought we were putting in a puppet, and it turned out we weren't.
Yep.
I think, and if we wiped out the Iraqi reserve by burning it, that would make our oil more valuable. And I think that's what Bush was edging towards when he started that war.
Right. Well, I was gonna say, like, you can't realistically say we fought that war for oil, but you can't say that the oil trade and the oil money was a large part of why we went in. Because I mean, I remember seeing, like, fuck, dude, as a kid, like, them bombing Baghdad and shit, and I remember this very clearly. I'll never fucking forget it. It was CNN or Fox News or something, back before it was all fake news, and well, it probably still was then. But anyways, I remember seeing like that Saddam Hussein had reached out to the American embassy and was like, "Hey, we don't have any terrorists here. Like that, we had nothing to do with 9/11, and we can even tell you where terrorists are at. Don't come fuck us up, guys." And they denied it.
They were offering Osama bin Laden's head on a platter. And
They did, but the problem is that, and I'll tell you this because I was actually on active duty when the whole thing went down. The USRA command generals were not willing to accept the terms, and were pushing back to the Department of Defense to not accept the terms because he also wouldn't surrender the smallpox, anthrax, and sarin that he had.
Well, I mean, it's just
Because
like whenever people bring up the Afghanistan war and they think that we were there for the fucking heroin and poppy fields, it's like, dude, I've fucking
We
personally
burned that shit.
Yeah, we've personally burned that shit. Like, yes, there are pictures of soldiers in poppy fields, but guess what? That's what's called a patrol, you dumb cunts. It's called a patrol. You can't just You can't just sit in your fucking fob and just be like, "Hey, enemy, don't attack us. Go ahead and do whatever you're doing. We're just gonna sit here and play fucking Jim Rummy for a couple of months." Like, no, you gotta go out and secure. Yeah, you gotta go out and secure the fucking village and the towns and shit.
Yep.
Oh yeah, and when you find those fields, you check through them, make sure there's no hidden ordnance, and then you burn the field back.
Yep,
I mean,
and like
that's the way it
we
works.
even had dudes where we arrested them. Like, we made them, like, actually prisoners of war because they had, like, black tar heroin on them and shit. So when people say that, we're there for the drug trade, maybe, because Oxycontin and shit like that and stuff that come from poppy is a very substantially big fucking business. But, no, we didn't go there just for the fucking poppy plants and shit like that. And I hate people who try and bring that up. I've even heard that shit being talked about on Joe Rogan.
Well, to be fair, man, most of our stuff for that kind of stuff comes out of Tasmania and Australia anyway, because they produce a much higher quality poppy than anything you get out of it.
Right, a higher
And
yield.
the rest of it's coming out of Canada and places here in the U.S.
Yeah. But
and
back
here
to
I was thinking it was to liberate those places from being heroin producers. I thought it was to give Afghanistan back their actual agricultural trade. Silly me.
I tell you what, and I've seen this firsthand, Han, where it's like you go there and you try to teach these motherfuckers how to grow corn or anything else that's sustainable, and they're just like, no, we grow poppy for the Taliban. We grow poppy. You pay us money, we give you heroin, we give you poppy, you know, shit like that. I don't know, dude. Like, I ain't got a problem with the Iraqis, but Afghanistan people, from what I've seen, like, you can pay any of those motherfuckers off to do whatever you want. You really
to
can.
be fair, Tennessee,
Good
have you
Lord.
looked at the regional IQ rate for Afghanistan?
Well, hey, man, this is not the JF stream, man. We're not going to
Well,
get
no.
to IQ differences among the races, homie. Come on.
Well, no. That particular country, the average IQ in that country is about 87.
Jeebus.
So when you start
Yeah.
talking an IQ that low, it's hard for them to change what they've been taught.
Well, also
And I'm not
that
saying it's a
and
good or a bad thing. I'm just saying
the level
it's
of
real.
IQ is also directly related to the amount of inbreeding that they have.
Right.
Agreed. And,
Shall we
and a
discuss-
lot of other problems.
I have a segue if you guys are interested.
Sure.
Well, I was gonna get. I just want to say this before you segue. Just one real quick thing, hon. I'm not a fan of Putin. Okay, I don't mind him. I think he's a dictator, and he's obviously fucking killed his political opponents and everything else. But the fact that our president is trying to be on better terms with the leader of a nuclear superpower is not a bad thing, in my opinion. Now, go ahead, hon.
I
please.
agree.
I was going to say, we were talking about intelligence. I saw an article that says that U.S. government loses plutonium because they left it in the car overnight and someone stole it at a hotel.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that has happened on several occasions.
It just happened.
People were not following protocol. You're not supposed to leave anything of that
No.
nature unsecured. And people
No,
have done it.
dude.
And the guy who did that one, I'm hoping he gets court-martialed like he should be. Because
I
that's
read the
unexcusable.
article and died. It just died. I was like, well, Mama always said no brains, no headaches, but really? Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm just gonna leave my plutonium laying around. That's totally what I should, this heavily radioactive material in a lead box, I'm gonna leave it laying here.
And probably the
Yeah.
reason he didn't take it inside was because, oh, it's heavy. I don't want to have to lift it. Well, tough fucking noogies. Lift the goddamn box up. Put it where you can watch it.
But
It's your
Sergeant, it's
responsibility.
heavy, man. I don't want to carry it.
Man, if my soldiers had told me that, I would have had them freaking push until the sun came up. And then they...
See, that's why I'm glad I got out as like a lance corporal, and I didn't really have any boots that I was actually in charge of for very long, because I know the type of dude I'd be, and I know the type of boots that we got right before I got out, and I was like, oof, no thank you.
Dude, they started going downhill right before I got out, and I was really depressed.
Yeah, well, it was one of those things, man. Like, I had boots on deployment in Afghanistan. Like, I had guys that I was in charge of, but I mean, they were okay for the most part, but right when I got back from Afghanistan, we got another boot drop, and oh my god, those kids just...
Were they stress card boots?
I don't know, man. I really don't, but they were something.
they
I
not
was glad I
have-
was getting out and not being in charge of them. I'll tell you that much.
Did
Two
you have
words.
to sing politically correct cadences with them?
Hmm.
Oh, God.
2 words, motivational videos.
That's right.
Oh.
Boot camp starts with motivational videos in the morning now.
Damn.
No.
It
Yes.
does.
Basic training
does.
starts with an hour and a half of getting smoked like a rock. That's
Nope,
how you make a
not
soldier.
anymore. Not anymore. Now they start
Hour
with
and
a 30-minute motivational video and then they go get smoked. Barely.
Reveille, get your butt on the PT field and do PT for an hour and a half till you puke. Then get into the shower, 5 minutes in the chow hall, and off to train. I mean, that's how
Yep.
you make a soldier.
Yep.
What the heck do I know? I'm some dumb old veteran.
Yeah, right.
Never mind
Like
my 3 combat deployments. I must not be no good anymore.
Right. Well, I mean, I was a lance corporal dude who gotten into trouble, so there was no way I was ever gonna go up in rank, and I didn't want to because it was just, I don't know. I did my
Yeah.
time. I did it honorably. I got the fuck out. It was cool. I've been there, been there, done that, got the T-shirt. I'm good.
That's right.
Yeah, they were trying to push me to an E5 from a corporal in the Army, and I couldn't clear the medical.
Yeah, I was an E3 and a troublemaker, so they did They're like, we got enough lance corporals who've never been in trouble, and you don't need to re-enlist. It's okay. It's okay, Franklin. Go ahead, get out.
Yeah, see, man, I blew my ankles out and then blew my lower legs out. And I was already in E4 and I was getting ready to go for the board and I was getting ready to go to PLDC and make my 5. But after I blew my legs out, I just couldn't ruck anymore, couldn't run anymore, man. And there's enough broke soldiers with multiple combat zone deployments. They don't need more.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was one of those things, dude. I had done everything that I had ever wanted to do in the Marines, so it was time for me to bounce. You know, go to college and fuck hot college girls. You know,
That's what I'm saying.
Hey,
and not
Burnside,
ask
how
them
you
for
doing?
and not ask them for nudes. Just get nudes up in my motherfucking bed.
That's
you
right.
know.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's what a fucking real man does. He doesn't ask for news. He gets you naked in his
Been
bed.
trying to do
Yep.
You know,
this
he makes
for a
coffee
damn
in the morning
while.
for you. You know?
Oh, yeah. And
Coffee
pancakes.
is a necessity.
Coffee and
another-
pancakes, man.
I want to thank Johnny Hellcat for the $5. He said he'd been trying to do this for a while.
Thanks,
Hey,
Johnny.
man, thanks for the
Thanks, Johnny.
donation. Thanks.
Yeah, I want to read a tweet that was there's some tweets that came out today, and I want you to just tell me who you think said it. Okay, today, July 16th, 2018, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked and betrayed by, quote, our president. We will again be inevitable. We will gain the inevitable triumph, so help us, all true patriots. Hashtag Treason Summit. Hashtag President Asset. Take a guess.
Chuck Schumer?
Who?
Chuck Schumer?
Good guess. Next. Anybody?
David Hogg?
Nancy Pelosi.
Oh. Mark Hamill.
What?
Yes. Mark fucking
Fucking
Hamill.
Luke Skywalker.
Luke-
Oh man.
At 2, Luke
Oh no,
A.
Mark's been insane since he got in that motorcycle accident in '79.
Yeah.
Well, look, guys. Here, I'll tell you this much: if you're in Hollywood and you expect to still keep getting work, I mean, look at fucking James Wood. There is nobody here. I wish we had a bunch of liberals in this call. I really do, because you could not deny this fact. James Wood is a damn good fucking actor.
Incredible.
He really
He's
is.
phenomenal, man.
But
Yes,
as
definitely.
soon as he started coming out with all that fucking pro-Trump, make America great again stuff, he blackballed. He'll never get a fucking role ever again. And you know what? He doubled down. He said, fuck it. If you guys are going to hate me for my political opinions, I'm going to be even more political. Fuck y'all. But
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know
It's
that's
one
why
of
you
the-
haven't seen anything new from Kevin Sorbo in like 10 years, right? It's
Yeah.
because he came out as conservative.
And he's
right
also a
before
Christian.
Trump.
Right.
Oh yeah, but he
Exactly.
does Christian movies and Christian shows now. That's what he specializes in. And he said he was leaving Hollywood and doing only Christian stuff.
He's a good
Yep.
boy,
Well-
for sure.
That's what
Well,
Kirk
he
Cameron
went
did.
that way after he had an aneurysm.
Yeah.
He used to be agnostic because he actually started going pagan when he was doing the Hercules series, and then he had that aneurysm after Andromeda, and he made a complete 180.
He said he had like an out of body or a near-death experience that changed his
Yep.
mind. I
Yeah.
remember watching the
Well, I mean,
interview about it.
like I said, it just goes to show you, man, if you're in that industry, in the Hollywood, movie making industry, you have to toe the company line, so to speak. You have to be one of these people who is like, oh, fuck Trump, hashtag resistance, and blah, blah, blah. Because literally everyone else around you is doing it. And if you don't do it, hey, guess what? Your agent, that asked about this role, they're not calling you back.
Yep. Your
Yep.
SOL.
Well,
Of course, man, that's
The
why I'm
Reward
hashtag
is a
resist too.
remake of Footloose.
Really?
The Reward was a remake of Footloose. Are you fucking kidding me? Because that needed to be redone? Really?
Yeah.
Not
Really?
really.
It wasn't a great flick the first time. Why would I want to watch it again?
Maybe it'll be better on the remake?
Oh, Lord.
God.
It came out a few years
No,
ago.
it came out a couple years ago. That's what I was going to say. It's like, and nobody knows that. See, that's the
All I
point.
know is
It's
my wife
so
made me go on
shitty.
opening day.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, after what they did to Jumanji, I have no faith in Hollywood to do remakes anymore. My
So-
childhood is slowly being, evaporated and dissected.
Welcome
for
to my
a
world,
couple,
brother.
A couple
I was gonna say.
$1 million.
Tennessee, have you seen what they're doing to She-Ra?
Yeah, the whole fucking Thundercat shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
no, they're doing it.
No,
She-Ra,
She-
too.
they're doing it to She-Ra. They made She-Ra look like a tranny. No fucking joke.
Well, I mean, the Thundercats and stuff was a little bit before my time because I was born in 1990. But I did see it, you know, when I watched it on cartoons. But I don't know. I feel bad for anybody at this point. It's one of those things where Hollywood is just like, oh, is this your childhood memories? Let me just, you know, burn it on a
shit on it.
crucifix.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I feel you, man. Welcome to my world.
Yeah, see, I enjoyed the Thundercats when I was a kid, and I enjoyed Robotech, and I'm glad they haven't remade Robotech yet. I know they remade Voltron, and that got me hot under the collar as well, because it was nothing like the original.
But it was closer to the original comic series it was based off of.
It was closer to the original comic books that the whole idea was based off of, agreed. But Voltron, the TV series, was iconic in the way it was done. And why mess with that?
Because Hollywood and everyone else can't come up with anything fucking original.
Nope.
That's because they're all one opinion now instead of having diversity of thought.
Yeah. Fucking
Scooby, man, I didn't see you slip in, man. Hey.
Yeah, what's up, Scoob?
Not much. It took me a couple of minutes to get my computer work.
And Burnside.
I couldn't get the mute button off.
Hey, Scoob, I wanted to thank you again for that image you let me borrow, and I love the way the shirts turned out, and I'm hoping people start buying them.
Oh, it's not a problem. It's not my image. It's just one I pulled off of the net.
Oh, Tim, by the way, not to interrupt, guys, but could you say what you just wrote in the live chat on stream, please?
There are vets being called traitors for not calling Trump treasonous all over Twitter right now.
Yep. That's going on, guys. That's going on.
That's going
on. I've had to watch that all on Twitter, and I'm like, you know, I don't want to. Funny enough, earlier today I saw it, and I was like, I don't want to get in a Twitter war today with some random ass faggots on the internet. But lo and behold, later on in my day, you know. But yeah, there's people, a bunch of people all over the internet on Twitter, calling anyone who's a Trump supporter and a veteran a treasonous, traitorous piece of shit for not denouncing Trump for having a conversation with a other nuclear power. So yeah, that's.
Because, you know, he didn't just calm the shit of fucking North Korea, which nobody's been able to do. So let's not trust that Trump might know what he's fucking doing, right?
You know, I really hate saying this, and I don't want to discriminate, but these are probably all young people who are even younger than Tennessee Marine here, and they didn't grow up during the Cold War. They don't remember duck and cover. They don't remember any of that shit. They don't remember what the German people went through in East Germany behind the fucking wall. You know, these kids, they sit there and they scream and they howl. Look, what's going on in Russia right now? Russia's like the wild fucking West. The mainstream media wants to play it down substantially. They don't want to let you know that Putin right now, he's a ringmaster to the worst circus on earth. That man, you know, you got to give the devil his due. He's up against a shitstorm in that country. And Trump right now is just trying to smooth things over. We are on point. They have to realize something. What he's doing right now on the world stage, this is all lip service. Do not think for 1 second that the United States is going to take one eye off of the Russians. That is not anything they need to worry about. This is just all handshakes and kisses, really. They should get the fuck over it.
Well, and I'll be the first to admit, I seriously doubt that we're going to make any kind of peace with Russia anytime soon. Trump's got too many weapons.
Trump's MO is like this. He'll say a lot of shit, right? And if you compare what he says to what he does, you know, it's incredible because he doesn't have to say the shit he says he's going to do. It's all smoke and mirrors with him, man. You know, he's going to cut the best deal that he can for us. You know, and I think that, you know, they talk about that 4D chess shit. I believe it now. Honest to God, I do.
Yeah.
I'm seeing an actual businessman do actual business deals, and this is how it works in the business world.
Yeah,
it is.
You know, we got a saying around here. It's a little bit graphic, you'll forgive me, but he's got him by the foreskins with the tongue, and he's taking him for a walk.
Yep.
Well, I mean,
Got him by
don't
the
feel
short
bad,
and
dude.
curly.
I've already said every cuss word in the book on like the first 2 minutes of me coming in the stream. So yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah, no, I just polite company, and I want to keep it simple. But no, seriously, he's basically leading them around by the Johnson. He's got him by the tip. That's basically these are it's. I hate using all these phallic references, but really, there's no other way to put it. Is that's the best way. Again, it's a masculine term. When you want
He's
somebody's
got him by the
attention.
balls. Yeah.
But got him by the short hairs is what we used to say in polite society back in the day.
Yeah, got him by the short hairs. Yeah, that's another one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
short and curly.
It's all the same point. Is he's got them, and that's the whole thing. Is, and I'm speaking specifically about the media. He's leading them around by the fucking nose. Like Prostate said, that's the thing. You all notice it because none of you are imbeciles. Everyone who doesn't notice this is a fucking moron.
Yeah.
This is the reason, the other night, twice in the past week. Once when I was streaming with Weibo, she dragged on that liberal sanity project. He seems like a decent enough guy, but he's another one of these fucking socialist wackos. And the same thing last week on the cunt stream. What was his name? Theophobe. These fucking lunatics, they don't understand. They're decent kids, but they haven't been out in the world. And the real world is not all fucking hugs and sunshine. I'm sorry.
Right. Well, I mean, I have the exact same opinion that I had about fucking Trump meeting with Kim Jong-un.
Yeah.
It was one of those, or Kim Jong-il. Which one was it?
Well, you got it right.
Yeah,
Il is dead. Un is the one currently.
Okay, yeah, I thought I got it right, but I was like, all right, the fat, pudgy Asian motherfucker, whatever.
Kim Jong-un.
Little Rocket Man. I had the exact same opinion about Trump meeting with him. It's not the fact that I support Putin or Kim Jong-un or any of this other shit. I just understand that I don't want to see more of my friends' kids go to wars for some dumb shit when we could, use diplomacy and actually stop wars from happening, especially with countries that have nuclear fucking weapons.
Well, man, and part of the problem that we've had in this country for a long time, and it goes all the way back to HW. People have been bowing and scraping, calling it foreign policy, instead of standing up and saying, no, when we say no, we mean no. Because there is a difference in the two. And a lot of foreign nations' leaders will respect you if you give them a hard limit and say, this is where our limit is.
It's
Because
just
they
like
don't want to
dealing
go
with
to war
children.
either. It's just, it's exactly like dealing with children, or if you're used to talking about pack societies,
You have
look
to
at
have firm
pack
boundaries.
societies. Yeah, somebody has to create the boundaries, and the biggest dog creates the boundaries. Well, it happens that America's the biggest dog. If
Well,
we're
you
not
know what it
creating the
is?
boundaries, they're not going to respect us.
It's like you were saying with HW. The problem is, the last president we've had that would be willing to turn a country into a field of irradiated glass was Reagan.
Yeah, Reagan.
Yeah.
That's the
And
thing.
before that, it was Grant.
Yeah. That's the thing. That's where the strength. We haven't had strength in this country since Reagan. I remember very clearly peace through strength. That's when all of my cousins and my family went back to work full force for this country in the defense industry.
In the 80s.
And that's what drives me nuts is when you talk to these spoiled little bastards, because that's all they are. Every one of these little milksops, they're all spoiled, they're all disgusting people. I'm at the point, I can understand where people back in the day would get all fed up with these elites, because these people are the worst elites I think history has ever seen. It smacks beyond the pale.
We're looking at. I was going to say, I think we're looking at an elitist class similar to what we saw in the late 1920s, right before the Great Depression.
Or even back to the 1700s,
Yes.
Before the Revolution.
If you look what they have done, like at first I was all for it 20 years ago when they started doing it, but then when I saw what they were doing, I started to panic. They have basically turned Brooklyn into their own fortified city outside. Basically what they did. Now Manhattan is Manhattan. They cannot, you can't really touch Manhattan. It's too commercial. They couldn't do what they want in Manhattan yet, but they did what they wanted in Brooklyn. Holy shit, if you go into Brooklyn. Do you know that about, I want to say 80% of the celebrities, maybe 90% of the celebrities you see on television, almost every New York politician and lawmaker all reside in Brooklyn. Now, those of you who are my age or older, you should remember very clearly that that would have been the most insane statement on earth 20 years ago.
Yeah, I'm shocked to hear that everybody lived in Manhattan.
Right. Well, here's the thing. If you look, like we can even use for an example, the CNN correspondent, Sally Cohen. If you look at Sally Cohen, you could type in her name into the white pages. You can find her actual address and her actual phone number. The reason for this is that entire precinct is controlled by the Democratic Party. If you go to that building, I am 6'2", 230 pounds. There are people there that can pick me up by my throat that answer the door. If you call that switchboard operator has a hot button. If you talk to them and they don't like how it sounds, it dumps immediately to the precinct. They have that place under such lock. There are trees, metal trees on each corner covered with closed-circuit camera systems. Brooklyn has become fortified. They refer to it as the Republic of Brooklyn. If you look, BAM, Antifa, Black Lives Matter, all have their headquarters within the same block radius in Brooklyn, and all of these celebrities live in the same area. Sally Cohen, what is that can of spam that was on that girls' TV show?
Lena Dunham.
Thank you, her. Jay-Z and his screechy wife with their ugly child, they all live within like 2 blocks of each other. They're all within this one precinct in Brooklyn. Now, this is the thing. If you look, they're right over by East New York. They're over by Flatbush. They're by all the worst crime areas. The reason for this is that's their army. They literally have an army. When they say by any means necessary, they're not kidding. This is the reason I wear that mask. You guys have no idea how fortified it's become here. I'm actually terrified to go out in certain parts of the neighborhood. Like, they have MS-13 all over Brooklyn. They have the Bloods all over Brooklyn, the Nietas, the Crips, the Latin Kings, and they're all over now parts of Suffolk County and Brentwood and in Bayshore. It's really dangerous now where I live. It's more dangerous than over by like where Burnside is, because Burnside is just thugs shooting at each other. Around here, they're actually consolidating their forces. You're talking about a civil war. California's just a distraction. That's just a fucking asylum. This is where they're going to make their push. I've been saying this for a while now. No one listens.
No, and I get where you're going with that, Scoob.
That's the opening shot.
I just think that if they do go full on and take New York City, I'm betting that we have a push from Virginia and West Virginia north and out of Pennsylvania east to take it back. Because I know a lot of people in Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh and Philadelphia are still all sorts of... But a lot of rural Pennsylvania is a lot like me.
If you look, they have... If you look... Now, let me ask you guys this, in all seriousness. When was the last time you heard of a serious bust with organized crime?
Well, I know the Gypsy Jokers were just busted up here in Oregon. 200 of them.
I meant over by me.
I haven't heard any out of New York in a while.
No.
They're all walking the fucking streets. It's the reason that they're all walking the streets. They cut deals with these fucking people. There was actually an article in the paper, if you look it up, a few years ago in Hempstead. They called in all of the drug dealers and cut a deal with them that they weren't going to arrest them if they stopped.
Yep.
That was unprecedented. Now, this is the thing. I can't go to a certain bar in my neighborhood because I'll get shot if I walk through the door. Why?
But drug dealers. Yeah.
Not just the drug dealers. These are all the cops' informants. I've already been threatened by the Suffolk County Police on several occasions. I was going to get stuck somewhere, like in a river or some shit. You have no idea how corrupt it is here. I actually have video footage of the Suffolk County cops selling shit out of the Lindenhurst High School. Believe me.
I believe
it's gotten bad over here.
You know, all this is going to do is destroy New York City. It's just it's communism is going to destroy that city so fucking fast.
It'll do the same. It'll do the same thing to California, Oregon, and even Washington, which are all pushing for the same thing. It's just over here the lunatics are running the asylum, whereas in New York they're not quite yet.
Well, it's all you got to realize what they've done is they flooded my home, all of these Central and South Americans, and it's gotten really bad. What else they did? They moved them all up here with Hurricane Katrina. My state led in Katrina hotels.
Yep. I'm aware of that.
We had to close down a bunch of hospitals and shit because they became condemned because these people destroyed them from living in them.
Yep. Well, and part of the whole point was to change the demographics. Now, I was reading something earlier today that gave me hope on that, though. And that is people of Mexican descent who no longer consider themselves Hispanic actually are far more conservative than the ones who are actively doing the whole Hispanic thing.
Yes.
And
yes, that's even common in Texas. There's Tejanos and then there's Mexicans.
And so once you hit about third generation or so, once they've been here, you start to really see a separation out, because they realize that if they just go around being thugs and gangbanging, they're not going to get anywhere. But if they go and get their freaking education and speak English and actually follow the laws of the country.
You mean ones that assimilate?
Yeah, so they start assimilating. And so, I mean, you don't get all of it. It's not everyone, obviously. It's only about 70%, but 70% is better than zero.
By the way, in the live chat, someone's just like, "Where's Frank Castle when you need him?" I'm like, dude, I could totally be the Punisher. I'm a Marine. I could just cut the hair, shave the beard, it'd be fine. Tara, that was not a fucking saying that you could cut my hair. And I could cut my fucking hair. I could cut my hair, and shave the beard. I'd look better as, a Punisher.
But if you're gonna cut your hair, at least let me do it, and then I'll just take what's left over and make you a wig.
Oh God, that loudness. Ooh. And also, no, denied, never gonna fucking happen. Stay the fuck away from me. No. Anyways, but yeah, dude, it really is gonna get to the point to where like we might need like fucking vigilantes in the fucking streets doing some fucking dirt.
Well, I mean, that was one of the things. That was one of the things I was talking about today, man. Out here in Oregon, especially, it's looking like we're going to end up with an Antifa-style riot that's going to be reminiscent of the Rodney King riots that lasted for like 3-4 days back in the 90s. And so I was telling everybody what they need to start looking at to make sure that if this happens, they're safe. 14 days worth of food, 7 days worth of water. Make sure you got at least 100 rounds of ammunition. Make sure you got a way to barricade your door and your windows.
Oh, yeah, I was listening to that this morning. I forgot to tell you. Good video.
Yeah, I mean, and part of the reason I'm talking about that is because we've got Antifa in the streets occupying public parking lots, trying to shut down federal agencies. Eventually, they're going to get pissed off and they're going to riot. And I'm expecting to see a prolonged riot this time. And not a short one like what happened when President Trump got elected. Because in the middle of summer, they could go 24/7 in Portland. Because it'll be 65 degrees at night. That's perfect rioting weather. But you can't do that in the winter here because you'll get down into the teens and 20s and people will be freezing to death. You can only start so many Molotov cocktail fires before you run out of gasoline. Especially at $5 a gallon.
Well, I think Oregon's kind of lucky because most of the crazy just resides in Salem, Eugene, and Portland. The rest of the state is pretty rural and well armed. Pretty conservative, comparably.
Bend is still fairly progressive. That's where Governor Kitzhaber came from. Oh. And Ashland, which is south of Medford, is an old hippie commune. And
well, okay, they are still going to be less dangerous.
Well, they're still pretty much an entire city full of hippies, and a lot of Antifa and BAM down there. A lot of them came out of Berkeley.
I used to live on a hippie commune back in the 90s, and let me tell you something. Those fucking people are dangerous.
They are.
Like, really dangerous.
I guess I've just been to different communes.
The ones down there in Ashland are no joke.
The ones up by Woodstock are the real deal. They're like, that's where you get like the ones that are, they're waiting for the bombs to drop.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking nut jobs.
Oh,
Hey, to be fair, man, I'm
those
good to go.
kind of communes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The prepper, you're getting ready for the revolution.
Yep.
The children.
Not
of the
quite Slab
revolution.
City, but similar concept.
I was thinking, like, let's all do a bunch of mushrooms and build some houses and farm some shit. Not.
I know,
Oh,
right? Like when everybody says hippie, I'm like, man, I like smoking weed and girls with dreadlocks and just make love not war. I'm all about that shit now. Like, don't hate me. Come on.
Hey, there's a big difference between people who want to live and let live and people who are getting ready to take over the state because they feel that without communism, the state is doomed.
Right. Fair enough, man. Valid
And that's
point.
the kind of shit I was seeing down in Ashland.
Okay, so you're talking about the commies, not the hippies.
Well, these are hippies as well because they're running their little hippie towns still to prep for all that. It's part of their lifestyle.
Hashtag not all hippies.
Exactly.
I never said all. I never said all.
Yeah, this is a locale thing. This is just an exposure locale thing.
Well, I
Because when
think
lived
what
in
it is,
California, it was totally
it's
different.
just, I think it's just a fragmentation of the whole, back then, I think that there was there's always going to be that revolutionary, part of it, but as a whole, most of them are just, mellow people, but the ones that are organized have a tendency to be politically organized too, right?
Oh, yeah.
And they tend to be in lockstep with each other. And I think the more disorganized, hippies or, may live in a commune here or there or some shit like that, but they're not organized, right? They're helping each other out. But the
The
organized,
ones I'm talking about,
yeah,
sorry.
they got their shit together.
They're specifically, these guys are almost always Green Party, and they're zealots.
Okay, see, I've always separated Green Party from hippies because they aren't hippies.
Well, this is the thing. They've hippified it. Like it's become a parody. Like if you guys were looking the other day when we had the pictures of the Trump protests in England, you can tell by looking at them. I guarantee you 90% of those people are probably so vanilla straight it's painful. I feel that they were that was a lot of that was them cosplaying like flamboyantly gay as they could make it, because a lot of it was cringeworthy. I mean, look, I've been through the village, and I can tell when somebody's overdoing it, when they're really, like they're trying to out Herod. They're trying to out Herod. And that's what a lot of that was. And what I feel is you're seeing in the Green Party now is they're like, oh, well, if peace symbols are this symbol, like everything's going to have peace symbols. They've went really overboard with it. That's actually the new symbol of the Green Party is now the peace symbol. And yes.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, that's what
Well,
I'm trying to
here's my question, guys. Like, you guys, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you're right or wrong or anything else. I understand your viewpoints and I respect them. But here's my question: what do you think? Do you think not what do you think? Do you think that there's any hope or possibility of ever being, swaying some of these kids to the other side?
Yes.
Oh, of
swaying
course,
them,
man.
like
Yes.
dissuading them from their communist or super
Oh, yeah,
leftist
man.
ideologies and all this shit.
To
Oh,
be
yeah.
fair, man, a lot of the kids when me and Scooby were growing up, and IRATE's a little older than we are, but Atima probably too. You guys remember the punk movement and the goth movement after, and even the grunge movement. There are a lot of kids that were like, "Oh, maybe socialism would be cool. Maybe we should look at something different. Maybe we need to change
we changed
America."
our minds quickly.
I need to qualify here because I delivered the Daily Worker, which is the fucking paper for the Communist Party. Okay,
Yeah.
Right. I delivered that. It was my sole job in the itty bitty group of communists that lived in Birmingham, Alabama, back in the late '80s, right? and it was my job to deliver the worker paper. So yeah.
So you were a communist sympathizer.
And exactly, that was during the Cold War. A and B, I met a certain president's daughter who was big time communist. And
did you bang a communist president's daughter?
No, you know what? No, she was with her boyfriend, but I had an opportunity to do a three-way with them, and I just, I wouldn't have it. They were both ugly as fuck, man.
That would have been you know what, ugly as fuck or not, that would have been a great story. Like, yo, dude,
I know.
I fucked up president's daughter, homie.
Dude, I've got a couple of stories like that, but yeah,
I'm sure you do, man.
That was in Memphis at they were both going to the Art Academy. Yeah,
I know I got an idea who you're talking about.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
So. But especially during the punk and the grunge and the goth movements, there was a lot of push for revolution, for new ideas, for democratic socialism. Nobody called out for full-out communism because communism was still too real from the fall of the Soviet Union and Tiananmen Square and everything, Tennessee. But there was still a lot of push for like a democratic socialism solution.
Yeah,
and you know what?
Well, see,
starting
here's the
towards the
same thing.
late 80s, it stopped.
Well, here's the thing, dude. Like, I heard even fucking, yet again, like someone like a Joe Rogan type, who has arguably the biggest podcast in the world. And he even said, like, that fucking bitch, I'm sorry, not a bitch, the female who won the election in New York, who is like 25 and she's a Democratic socialist. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Even Joe Rogan talking about her was like, you know what? Why shouldn't a democratic socialist be allowed to talk about this? Maybe her idea could help. Maybe everybody has a right to talk about what they want.
Joe Rogan also thinks that doing yoga while you're sweating obtusely helps you. I mean,
Joe Rogan's an orangutan. The fact that he has this podcast just goes to show you that anything's possible in America.
Hot yoga is actually really bad.
I would just
for you.
well, to his point, I was just gonna say, yeah, okay, valid, but here's the thing: democratic socialism leads to socialism, which leads to communism, and it has never worked in any fucking country ever.
Ever.
Yeah, stop Googling ever. It has not worked. It's a flawed fucking system. Because guess what? When you tell people, hey, the state's going to take care of you, you make a lot of lazy motherfuckers who don't work. And someone has to work to pay taxes, to put money into the system that's paying for you.
Well, in Tennessee, they can't make it work on a small level like Cuba. All right, imagine, okay, a country the size of the United States, right? All right, so you've got, they can't do it in a small country like Cuba. To do it in a country the size of the United States, you would to even pretend like you were doing it, you'd have to kill a shitload of indigenous people or people that were living here, not Native Americans, but I mean the people that were living there to begin with. Right.
You'd have to remove about 40% of the national population.
At least.
Before we could actually attempt communism in this country.
Exactly.
And realistically, it would be best to remove 60% before you gave it a go.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was going to say at least 30%, closer to 50%, just to be able to have the kind of populace that you could control necessary to have any kind of successful socialist society. There's just no way to do it, especially with the vast land expanse we have in America. There's no proper infrastructure.
Well, and I always love my saying when it comes to socialism and communism. I prefer bread to wait in line for me instead of me having to wait in line for bread.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, I agree with that. Hell yeah.
There's something I always say to these people, and I've always had an inside track growing up, the whole family. I mean, soup to nuts, every member of the family was a teamster, including myself.
Oh.
And I've always known this little thing, and I always like to point it out to them whenever they talk about socialism. And when they try to say Americans don't want to work and they don't want to do this and do that. Pema, you're the same age as me, and Prostate's older, and Vetran, we're all, I push you. We're all hovering around like between 40 and 50, so we're all in the age
Not
group.
me. Aha.
I actually broke 40. I survived my 40th year. I'm so proud of myself.
Congratulations! I know. So what I'm getting at is, you guys all remember the hearings that they had in the 80s, most likely in the early 90s, about the unions when they found out there were people that were working something like 100 hours a week because of all the overtime.
Yeah.
And they had to curtail it substantially because people were sitting there working, non-stop because they were, getting all this OT. And there were strikes and people were getting near riots because they wanted that OT. They wanted to work. So I say to these socialists when they sit there and Americans in the 80s, they don't want to work. Well, maybe your generation, Susie. So let me put it to you like this. When I grew up, we actually had to tell people, no, you can't work. You're working too much. You have to stop working so much.
Well, dude, they're doing that here in Oregon right now. I mean, in Oregon, in manufacturing, you cannot work more than 55 hours without signing a waiver. And if you sign the waiver, you can only work 60 hours. And last year...
Guess how many people were signing those waivers?
Oh, shit, man. I signed my waiver the first day they made them available.
Yeah.
They're like, the waiver's available. I'm like, okay, where do I go? It's over there. Okay. And I went and I signed it immediately, Why? Because I'm not going to turn down time and a half.
Well, hell no.
Not a person in their right mind is going to if they like having money.
They like being able to afford things and make do for themselves, yeah.
Eating is fun.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you guys a little something about this is one of the golden secrets about how things work over here. This is why I keep saying I don't know how they're pushing for communism here. I don't know how they're going to get it because of how they have the unions rigged around here. This is the thing I keep telling everybody when people keep talking about unions and communism. The way America's unions are worked right now, they're not going to go communist. I mean, I see the ones over in Chicago by Burnside. Those kids are out of their mind because the way it works here, check this out. If you work for the MTA and you go to work every day and you eschew your vacation, you don't take except for mandatory time when they say you have to take time. If you just skip your vacation and you skip all of your sick days that you're allowed and you skip all the days off that they give you because you basically can work for a year and you only have to work for 9 months. That's basically how good the union has it.
Yeah.
So if you skip all of that and you just work through your entire shift and never take a day off, when you retire, they count up all of that time and they total that time up and they tack it on to your time at the end.
Yep.
So you get all of that extra pension for all of those days that they count. It's amazing. The other thing that worked now, when I was working for the state, now the way that they have it working at the different beaches, if you're working for a beach in a certain township and you work there as a lifeguard and you were a teacher, for every 2 years you're a lifeguard, they add a year of pension to your pension when you retire. So I just don't see how the fuck they're going to get communism to work here. The unions here are so good.
They're not, first and foremost. I mean, don't get me wrong, dude. Like, I don't know. I'm not in the know or anything like that. So this is just, take this with a grain of salt. I don't think, first and foremost, that these people have any real muscle behind them. The people that want to make America socialist and then eventually communist, because that's always the way it goes. I don't think that there's any real muscle. Yeah, there's money, but it's not going to be enough, And the people that live in this country who are actually patriotic and actually hardworking, blue-collar Americans are never going to let that shit happen.
The only thing I really have a problem with when it comes to the unions is the control they try to put on everybody who isn't part of the union. Like they're like a monolith and it's dangerous.
I agree.
No,
I agree. I'm the first one that tells you that the unions have to be brought to heel with rod and lash. And I grew up around.
Oh yeah.
They really need to be curtailed substantially.
I don't mind if they're voluntary unionization, but like out here in Oregon, up until this recent Supreme Court decision, it was mandatory unionization, even for the public sector union. Even if you didn't want to be part of the union, you had to pay union dues. You had to pay non-participation dues, is what they called them. And so they were like half. They were half of what the normal union due was, but you didn't get any support from the union.
No, but you still had to pay the union for the privilege of working in a right to work state.
Well, for privilege to working in a union state, because Oregon is actually a union state, to call it. Because anywhere where there was a mandatory union, that's how it ran.
Yeah.
And there were even private sector mandatory unions in Oregon that still run that way. The taxi cab union's an example. Same with the broadcasters union. If you go to work for like CBS, you have to join the broadcasters union or they won't let you work there.
Yep.
And it's because the state has mandatory unionization in that situation. And until this most recent Supreme Court decision, that hadn't been taken away. And so they had a lot of power here. And the unions were funding the political party, the Democrat Party in Oregon. It was the combination of the Oregon unions, the California universities, the Oregon universities, and the West Coast Workers Party.
I've been FCC blackballed for about 13 years now, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, geez, man, that sucks.
Yeah, I haven't been able to get insured to go on the air, so I can't get Federal Communications Committee licensing.
That sucks.
Yeah. Hey, it is what it is. It's all political. That's the thing.
We gotta get you.
Things I shouldn't.
We got to get you like broadcasting on Twitch or something, man, and get you away from the FCC and into a situation where you can still do news reporting on your own.
You know what? I trust you, so I'll send it to you. I sent it to Six, but Six is lost in the sauce because he's working himself to the bone. God bless him. I'm going to send it to you afterwards. I'll send you my PayPal link. Man, if you could just take a look at it and see if it's actually like says Scooby or if it's doxing me again, because I lucked out. The kid who's doing my fan art, that young kid we got in the chat all the time. I'm so bad with names. I'm sorry, kid. I'm sorry I can't remember your name. But I accidentally, I sent him a letter in correspondence, and he told me, he's like, I'm just letting you know it doxed you. It gave me your full government. Oh my God damn it. So I'm gonna send you the PayPal link in a little while. Just let me know if it says Scooby or if it's doxing me.
Yeah, send it to me via DM on Discord, and I'll take a look at it a little later.
You have to change it to a business profile to keep your name from being exposed.
Yep.
Scooby.
I think I did that right, but it's been a while since I used PayPal, so I hadn't used it in over a decade. So I had all these pages I had to fill out, and it was a whole big ordeal.
Yeah, man, they change shit about every 6 months on there. I hate it.
Yeah, I had pages. It took me hours to fill it out. Like, we did it like a few weeks ago, and they're like, oh, yeah, just do your PayPal and throw the link in the chat. I'm like, okay. And I sat through a whole thing we did for 2 hours, and stream ended. I still wasn't done.
Yeah.
Shit, I guess I should try to work on it at some point then, huh?
Yeah, you should actually clear an afternoon.
Yeah. If you haven't been in there in a while and you need to go in, it's going to take you, couple of hours of going through stuff, because like I said, I go in at least every month, because if you don't, you'll end up with all sorts of stuff that you got to sign off on. And to be fair, I think I need to go back through and double check my PayPal link and set it up to migrate back over to business, because I think I kicked it back to personal like 6 months back, and I got to convert it back over again.
Yeah, it's annoying. But
it is.
if I can get this to work, I can start showing it in various chats, and hopefully I can get up enough cash, get myself a GoPro, get a decent phone, and I can start from there. Because
man.
My thing is this: I want to start walking around Brooklyn, and I want to start asking these various celebrities questions on the street, like bamboozle them, roll right up on them, like, yo, Alina Dunham, come here, I got a question for you.
Can you just say bamboozled again? Because I love it coming out of that New York mouth. God.
Bamboozle.
There we go. I fucking love it. I get a kick.
No
I'm
problem.
sorry, I got a kick out of it, brother. I got a kick. I'm not making fun.
That's all right. No, it's okay. Don't worry about it. I mean, it could be a lot worse. I mean,
yeah, true. That you could sound like me.
No, actually, no. You guys.
You go to the wishy-washy or the laundromat? Because I know better.
I think both are kind of dangerous.
What, the wishy-washy or the laundromat?
Both. Yes.
It all depends on where you're at, I guess.
Yeah,
No.
you're actually around by me. You're safe at having a washer dryer combo in the house.
Well, you know, it's one of those things. Until you've ever been to a Piggly Wiggly, you can't say you've been in the South. I can tell
That's
that
right,
much.
Piggy Woo. Did
Oh,
you know
man.
that Piggly Wiggly was the first ever real supermarket to open up in the United States? That's a factoid, and it opened in Atlanta, Georgia, the same place where they made Coca-Cola. So
Yes, sir.
exactly, that's what
Yep,
I'm saying, man.
Piggly Wiggly, Kroger, and H.G. Hills.
Exactly, man. HG, man, I hadn't heard that in a while.
You know, H.G. Hills closed down.
Oh man,
Well, the first grocery, Piggly Wiggly was the first grocery store. First multi-lane supermarket was King Cullen up here in New York. I believe it was in Merrick. They opened up.
yeah,
on
the
Sunrise
first chain.
Highway.
Yeah.
Yep. I
know
remember
what the-
only because I used to work at King Cullen when I was a kid. I actually worked at the same King Cullen that Raheem did from him and Eric B when they did their album, because they actually lived on the main road in my neighborhood, Straight Path. So I worked the same King Cullen that they did. Just useless shit, you know. It doesn't mean a damn thing. I think one of Wu-Tang, one of the Killer Bees worked there too as a security guard. It was weird. It was like a slew of hip hop stars and then me were the security guard for this place. I'm sorry, Tennessee. You were saying something?
Yeah, man. No, it's no problem, dude. It's no problem. I like to talk just like you. It's all good. But not that this has, you know, like, oh, I know of this, you know, fucking chain of grocery stores or whatever. I don't know any interesting factoids. I would just like to say, I'm not the type of guy that goes to like what's that really hippy dippy place like
Whole Foods.
Whole Foods.
Yeah, something with a name in it though. I think Trader Joe's. That's it.
Yeah,
Trader
Trader
Joe's?
Joe's. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah,
Where you
like,
can
I
go
don't-
get 500 flavors of hummus.
Yeah, like I don't normally go shopping at places like that, but there's this German grocery store chain that I recently went to that had really
Aldi?
good German beer. Yeah,
Yeah,
Aldi's.
Aldi's, yeah.
dude.
Yeah,
it's
Aldi is
in
like
there.
Aldi is like the Kroger of Germany. There was an
Okay.
Aldi in every city over there that I was in.
Unless you're in Central Texas, and then the Aldi is like a really cheap, shitty dollar store.
You know, Aldi's just came here to New York probably last year or two, and I was freaking the fuck out. I wouldn't let my wife buy anything there because Obama was still president. I seen everything was from Chicago. I said, this is it. They're trying to poison us. I really was. I was getting that paranoid towards the end of his friggin' term.
You know, I was pretty nervous. I mean, at the beginning of the term, I had family go into the military, and they had to do heavy background checks for them. And I'd been a part of the Tea Party movement and gone to some rallies and some protests and stuff. And I had to deal with a whole lot of extra interviews because of that. So by the time Obama left office, I was really, really fucking uncomfortable. Like, really uncomfortable.
Tema, I flew twice while President Obama was in office, and I got strip searched both times, going through airport security.
If I hadn't
mean,
had the
strip
autistic, if I hadn't had the autistic child with me that panicked every time somebody touched her, we probably would have been too.
Well, the thing was, is they actually pulled me aside, and they're like, "You're Corporal Jones. Yeah, we need you to come in here."
Oh my God.
And it was because of my security access and my deployments. They
I'd have
thought
been
I
like,
was going to
"Fuck
go
you.
blow
No,
up
I
a plane
don't,
or
bitch.
something.
No, I don't. American citizen, motherfucker. Hell no.
I was trying to get back to my family. My grandmother had just passed, so I wasn't going to cause
okay.
a scene.
Yeah.
But I haven't been on a fucking plane since.
I don't blame you.
I haven't been on a
I
plane
don't
since.
blame you.
Shit.
Because after
I got
that,
into
I
a
was like, I'm
screaming
done.
match with Homeland Security once
Good Christ.
in Newark Airport. I think I told you about that. My sister's husband is Jordanian. So I get a call from her, and she's all panicked that she's in Newark Airport and she's detained. I'm like, now my sister, you got to understand something. My mother always says, she's like, how the fuck is she a Republican? Because my sister's loaded, and she lives amongst those people and lives like one of them. But just to give you an idea of how she is, she's like one of those elites. So I'm like, how the hell did she get picked up for anything? But she just told me she couldn't talk, that she was in Newark. I had to go out to Newark and pick her and the girls up. So I get out there, and it's this fucking big dick And, you know, because he sees my last name, so he starts giving me a hard time. And this is the thing, you know, you got to realize when you have somebody like this dealing with the public, you're giving the left fuel when they say that these government people are pricks and they're racists and they're, you know, sexist and bigots. When you have somebody and they're handling the public poorly, that's the face that you're wearing with the public. This guy was a complete asshole, and I got into a screaming match with him. Well, you know, her name, my niece, her name matches the name of, you know, this wanted terrorist, this, that, and the third. Okay, how old's this terrorist? Oh, she's like, I think she was like 38 years old. My niece is 11. You can tell by looking at her. She has braces and an insulin pump.
Right.
Oh,
Why
Jesus.
is she shackled to a desk, you asshole? Sir, I'm going to ask you not to talk to me. I don't give a good goddamn what you ask.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I don't
those
blame
sorts of deals. Yeah.
I would have probably lost my shit too if my niece would have been like that. Yeah, I feel you.
I
Unfortunately,
would
was
have
working for
lost
the
my
paper at
shit.
the time.
I would
I
have
was
lost
working.
my shit.
I was working for the paper at the time. Out came the press pass. Out came the recorder. This guy's eyes all of a sudden dilated, and my niece got released within 20 minutes.
I bet.
Yeah.
See,
Good
man,
man.
the last time I was even close to abused like that was when the CFPB decided they had to interview me for my security clearance when I was working at Epic Systems. And the first question... Go ahead.
I was going to say, just to let you know, I get pulled over,
Yeah.
license, registration, and then the microphone follows. I still do that. And I still whip out my press pass. I just wanted to mention that before I forgot it. You were saying something. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, so the CFPB had to come in to interview us for our security clearance. First question out of the CFPB officer's mouth is, why were you in Germany? And I'm like, you've got my freaking record right there. I was active duty United States Army. Yeah, well, why were you in Poland? See above, same. What were you doing in Turkey? See above, same. Are you sure you were working for the U.S. government? You've got my DD-214. You've got my FBI file. Why don't you tell me? I know where I was. The way they were treating me under Obama, man.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the reasons I started talking out because of that. I had been quiet prior to that. Why? Because I was just trying to live and let live.
Right.
But, you know, between the way they had treated me when I was trying to fly and then treating me like that when they were trying to put me through a security clearance when they knew good and goddamn well I bled for my country. It's like, what are you people doing? And I mean, I signed up under Clinton, for crying out loud. It wasn't like I signed up under Bush Jr. or under, Bush Sr. or under Reagan. I signed up because I volunteered because I was doing the right thing. I didn't care who was president at the time. I didn't agree with the man, but I was still willing to serve the country. It just made no sense to me, man.
You know, it's been a long, strange trip past 20
10
years.
years.
20.
10 years.
It's been like a fever dream. For me, my whole world changed on September 11th. Literally my neighborhood got destroyed.
Yeah.
We lost, it's never been a contest, but we lost more people than anyone else. We lost, people who lived in this neighborhood who worked in the offices, not just firefighters and cops.
Yeah. Just normal people.
Yeah. We lost, I think we lost something like 300 first responders and police officers, like altogether, EMS and everything. But we lost something like another 1,500 people who worked in buildings. I lost people I grew up with. I lost my friend's parents. Oh my God, it's just, I'll go tomorrow and I'll film the monument just to show you. And since then, look, my father poured those foundations, and my uncle filled those beams, and the guy around the corner that I went to kindergarten with his sons, he was the head of the iron workers who did the welding and the fitting of those beams. And when I'm telling you that three men I was in a room with those three men when they were discussing how there's no fucking way on God's green earth those buildings should have fell the way that they did. it's since that time, my life has been a whirlwind, and part of the reason I voted for Trump was to end the madness, and that's the best way I could put it. You know?
Well, I mean, on a better and hopefully, more positive note, well, what do you guys think about where the country's going now?
I like how the economy is doing. I like the fact that we're actually trying to renegotiate the trade deals that have been suffocating this country's international trade for over a decade and a half.
Yep.
Oh yeah, 30 years realistically, but the past decade and a half, it's been the worst.
NAFTA started it. NAFTA was the first domino.
NAFTA was the first, and then I think the Patriot Act was the second. Those are probably two of the worst pieces of legislation ever created.
Both by Bush.
Don't even get me started. I would love to. I would love to have both of those.
You know, George H.W. was one of the drafters of NAFTA, and he was pushing it. He was pushing it when he was voted out of office.
Oh, you mean Prescott's boy?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And
it was Clinton that pushed it through, because Clinton was talking against it during the whole, during the election, right?
Oh yeah.
And then as soon as he gets in office, like 3 or 4 months later, dude, he's like, yeah, this is the best thing that's ever going to happen to America. And, Ross Perot's going, hear that sound? That's the sucking sound of all the jobs going to Mexico.
And he was right.
He was absolutely right, man. Anyway, I'm sorry. It triggered me, man.
Yeah,
now you know my triggers. Yeah.
Hey, we were all there together, man.
I voted for that.
Don't even get me started on that Patriot Act, because I was on active duty when that Patriot Act went through.
Oh my God, I had threats from FBI for signing petitions and handing out petitions against the Patriot Act. It was bad. That was horrible. I can't imagine what it was like to be in the military at the time.
So when 9/11 went off, I've told Scooby this in IRATE, but I haven't told you guys. I was teaching a class at the 1st Armored Division conference room on the Wiesbaden Army Airfield. I had 20 soldiers in that conference room that I was teaching a class. We had just finished the final exam, and I was going over the answers with them. And everybody's cell phones went off. Every single one of my class, one of my students was recalled to their unit for immediate activation orders. I spent the next 4 days on 12-hour shifts with a grenade launcher in my lap in my office because of the secured equipment I had.
Damn.
I could go to sleep, and I could be in my office with my weapon in my lap. And I wasn't working, I was guarding the equipment, because we were waiting for the secondary attack. Because when 9/11 occurred, Europe had already had 7 terrorist actions against the European theater in the past 72 months.
Yeah, it had been. I remember there was a ramp up to it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember.
Nobody in the U.S. was talking about it.
My oldest daughter. Yeah, no, nobody was talking about it at all. I remember talking to other people about it. My oldest daughter was at her father's house. Before I met my husband at 9/11. I didn't get to talk to her for 4 days because they shut down the phone lines going into the town next to the base for 4 days. I couldn't talk to my kid.
Well, the phone lines on all the military bases in Europe were shut down. Even the cell phone signal towers were turned off.
Did it get out to you guys what happened here on 9/11?
We did get to see some of the footage.
Some, not a lot.
No,
to be fair, man,
what had happened was the blacks in the black neighborhood were going into the stores and breaking the Arabs over the counters.
You're roboting, bud.
Oh shit! Am I still roboting?
Not now,
not now.
But you were there for a sec.
Yeah, amazing how it started right then.
Yeah. In the black neighborhoods, they were going in, and they were going into the different stores where the Arabs were, and they were dragging them into the streets, and some of them beating them to death, but just horribly what they were doing to them. I personally was terrified. I called my sister. I said, "Pull your kids out of school immediately," because I thought, because they're going to do that to my nieces, and I was terrified. Like, they did it to my one nephew. They held him down in a football game, and they got on top of him. They broke most of his ribs, and he's lucky that he's still able to walk because of what they did to his hips. And it's only because of his name. If you looked at him, and my nephew, he's still, God bless me, he's a gorgeous boy. He looks like an Arab, but he has fair skin, blonde hair, and blue eyes.
Oh, wow.
Beautiful boy. But they knew his last name, and they knew he was an Arab, and that was it. They went after him hammer and tongs. And
Yeah, we had several Hindi friends we had to protect because people were stupid enough to think that Sikhs and Hindis were also Muslims.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking white people, am I right, guys?
Hey, you know.
Actually, most of them were Mexican.
Hey, they all look alike. That's all I'm gonna say about them. They all look alike to me.
I'm not going to lie. There was, after 9/11 happened, it was either the same day or the day after, somebody did say something stupid in front of somebody I knew. And the guy, I mean, he took an Arizona bottle and he beat this poor kid fucking bloody. And I'm sorry, I didn't stop him.
You know, I went.
Kid was a Muslim, and the kid said to him, he's like, you know what, fuck you, you Americans deserve this. And my boy.
Oh, well, yeah, I would have beat him too.
Okay, no, that's an ass beating asking to happen. I mean, you wanted to get your ass kicked at that point.
Yeah.
You know, after everything finally settled down in Europe, I was happy because I could actually go make sure my buddy Jakob was okay. He was an immigrant from Somalia Ethiopia, that was working for the bases out there. And because everything had gone into lockdown, I hadn't been able to talk to him in like 2 weeks, and he and I would get together every weekend and play darts when I wasn't employed. I'd go to his bar, I'd sit down and eat with his family. Apparently, he got yelled at a few times by some Germans, thinking he was some variation of Muslim right after it happened.
If he's running a bar, he certainly fucking isn't.
I know that, and you know that, but, you know, he was Christian. I mean, you know, for crying out loud, he was a Coptic Christian. He and his wife and his kids.
That's crazy.
You know, yeah, and I mean, they were great people. I used to enjoy sitting down at their table. I'd ate what they had for dinner. We'd talk. I realistically think he was trying to get me to date his daughter, but that's neither here nor there. Because his daughter was 18 years old, and I think he was trying to hook me up with his daughter. But
that doesn't sound like a bad guy. Like what?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty neat wingman, dude.
He was definitely, yeah. It sounded like good
No,
people,
he was
man.
great people, you know? And I mean, I was worried about him because I knew where he was and I knew what he was doing, and, you know, but it just amazes me that kind of crap happened after 9/11 because people just didn't know anything. Uneducated, ignorant masses.
Yep. Amen. And
uneducated,
fuck, I can't talk all of a sudden. Uneducated, ignorant masses who are also frightened are fucking dangerous as all get out.
Mm-hmm. They really are, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
It's
angry
like
and
Men in
scared
Black.
is bad.
It's Men in Black, what Tommy Lee Jones has said. He said, a person is smart and rational, but people are panicky, dumb animals.
Yep. I was going to say, you know, the Caesars said you must give them circuses and bread to keep them distracted from the true ills of the Republic.
Yes, that's, you know, yes, when people were saying to me, hope and change, I was saying to them, bread and circuses.
Yep.
And then Rome fell.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's right.
Well, to be
Well,
fair,
that- I mean, that's the
Rome
whole-
didn't have people like us.
But that's exactly the socialist thing, you know. It's like, that's really where our government is right now. Is you know, they're giving out free shit for, you know what I'm saying. The balance is not, it's not balanced. The trade, the input versus output is not balanced, and that's basically that you know, that bread and circuses concept being played out, you know.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you, one of the main reasons why I wanted to vote for Trump, why I consider myself a Trump supporter to this day, number one, I support the President of the United States. Now, yeah, that might have a lot to do with me being a veteran, but I support the dude who's in charge. Do I agree with his policies all the time? No. Do I think that do I totally understand why some people think that Trump's a fucking goofball blowhard? Yeah, I fucking get why people cannot like the guy on a personal level. I totally fucking get it. But the main fucking thing that I liked him better than anybody, than any other political candidate this go around, and better than I have so far, is he seems to really want to put America first. Yeah, I know it's a fucking slogan and all this other shit, but I mean, it has been a long time that I can remember where it was like, no, fuck you, pay me, bitch. We're America. We help all of you motherfuckers out. We keep all of your countries safe, and you don't do so much as give us a fucking red cent. So no more. We're going to put Americans first, put jobs back into this country, and worry about our own shit. And that's why I support the man.
Mm-hmm. I can
agree,
understand that, man. I really do. And you know what? Part of the reason I voted for him is I saw the same thing in him that I saw in Reagan when I went back and I watched Reagan's campaign.
I heard the same rhetoric.
Well, you know what?
I heard the same rhetoric.
Yeah, exactly. Because he's said in past interviews that, you know, he was highly influenced by Reagan. You know, because at that point in time when Reagan was elected, he was just becoming a businessman. And he was highly impressed by the way Reagan, you know, they called Reagan the great communicator. And they did, you know, I mean, there's definitely a foundation for that, you know, for that name, because the man could, you know, orate, and he cooperated. All right, if you'll notice, man, you know, the House, and this happened with Clinton too, man. Clinton was good at it too. He could get both of the parties together in either in the House and in the Senate and say, look, fuckers, we're going to have to hammer this shit out. You know, everybody hurts, because, you know, that's when a good deal is made, everybody walks away saying, damn it, I didn't get this, right? Well, everybody's got to, you got to give something up in a deal, right?
Yeah, you got to give to get.
Exactly, and that and a good president can do that, you know. And he writes a book called The Art of the Deal. He knows this inherently, and as soon as the fucking Republicans can get their shit together, or whoever replaces them in the midterms get their shit together, then we're gonna see shit get done.
Oh yeah,
you know.
You remember when Reagan got shot?
Yeah.
Because I remember when Reagan got shot, it was I remember, like, cause they let us out of school early, and I remember the teacher breaking down his like crying when we were leaving.
You robot him, bud.
Damn it.
Go. F5.
Yeah. Okay.
Got a thunderstorm in my neck of the woods.
Right. How do I sound now?
Good.
That's better.
I was going to say,
right,
before we get on with this, Uzi Q went to the same college that Hinckley did. He went there for one semester, and he carved his name. There's a place on the campus where his name's carved in still.
Shit.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's, I don't know. It's a weird kind of, you know, 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon
those
shit.
winky dinks you just have.
Yeah, exactly.
You remember that though, Prostate? Do you remember when Reagan got shot?
Oh God, yes.
My mother said people were reacting the same way as like when Kennedy got shot.
Yeah.
No, here's the deal, man. I was at a certain university that's named after the state that I currently live in. And I went there only my freshman year because, you know, I fucked up. Trust me. And there was a dorm room of people that were not my color, but there was a certain dorm, and they were cheering when this shit happened, right?
Really?
Yes. And it was like, we were like, oh my God, I can't believe it. You know, we were like, you know, it's like, whatever. We were too busy eating acid and, you know, and smoking weed. We didn't give a shit. But, you know, when that happened, we're like, holy shit, that's our president. You know, we gave a shit. All of us had just voted in the election for the first time in our lives, and we hear a whole dorm full of people, you know, cheering and, you know, over the you know, that our president's been shot. And I'll never forget that, man. We just all looked at each other like, holy fuck.
You know, it's funny because what I remember most from when I was a kid, because my neighborhood there's a lot of black folks. I remember the black people, but they were wailing. I mean, crying. I guess it's because we're up north, but I mean, holy shit. I guess you got to realize, I remember during his first term, the lines for, you know, like relief up here were really bad because of our population. And
yeah,
I guess because they saw that relief coming from him. I remember this one woman, young, beautiful woman. I'll never forget as long as I live. I mean, I'm going back over 35 years ago. I remember her screaming at the top of my lungs like she lost a child. And I'll never forget that. And
Man.
yeah, I just hope that, obviously I don't wish anything bad would happen to Trump, but I hope that, I feel he's starting to get a connection like that. I mean, because I remember when Reagan was leaving, there were people around the neighborhood. I remember that you know, there was not a dry eye in this house when he gave his farewell address. So, I pray that Trump can touch the people that way, because if anything, maybe it means they won't vote away his legacy as fast as they voted away Reagan's.
Now, here's the deal, man. You got to realize, out
Well,
here
one good
on the left
thing
coast,
I could say is that Trump definitely is identifying with a good portion of the population, especially since his opposition is just accelerating their insanity. So I do think good will come.
Oh yeah, dude, I've said this on countless fucking live streams that the people who are anti-Trump are so much worse and so batshit crazy and fucked up and stupid that they make more people who are on the fence about it go for Trump. 9 times out of 10. When I know it's a fucking meme, but that whole like this is why we have Trump type shit. Yeah, it's because of goofballs like you out there, you know, burning American flags and fucking saying, you know, all white men are racist and blah 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 and all this other dumb shit. It's like that's how you get Trump.
Yeah, like literally, that's why last year when I went to more, and this year, you know, I'm gonna remind them that yeah, I am the only anarchist Trump supporter that exists, and I am because the rest of you people are burning flags and being a bunch of degenerate sacks of shit. You know,
you're not the only anarchist here, dude.
Oh, thank
Awesome.
God.
to be fair, Burnside, a lot of people call me an ANCAP. I'm not,
I'm not.
but they call me one.
I'm a philosophical anarchist because I believe in self-rule.
I believe in self-determination and self-governance, but I also do like having the ability to not have to use the death penalty to enforce my rights.
True that.
That's the only reason.
Something before.
So out here on the left coast, I don't know if you guys have been purview to this, but out here people cuss Reagan's heritage. They
Yes.
spit on his name
Yes.
out here.
Yes,
And
they do.
it is insanely disturbing how hated he is in Oregon, Washington, California. Now, once you get east of Oregon, Washington, and California, he starts becoming fondly remembered again. But out here, they're like, what did he do for us? Because apparently the West Coast felt that they were abused under Reagan.
He put in caps on how much federal workers could make, and he put in caps on their pensions and stuff. And that really, because my mom is union progressive, she's fucking out of her mind. So I grew up hearing exactly why Reagan was a piece of shit, and it's because she wasn't getting the standard 10% increase in her pay biannually that she was getting prior to Reagan being in office.
Yeah.
That's absurd.
Yeah,
And
I hate saying it.
10% increase biennium,
20%.
that's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
But she was entitled to that money because she answered phones with 911, what's your emergency? So she was entitled to extra money every year. Never mind the fact that people that cleaned the building weren't entitled to the same amount of money. Never mind the fact the paramedics weren't entitled to the same amount of money. Never mind the fact that in her mind, not even the firefighters were entitled to the same amount of money she got. She was deserved more because she answered the phone.
Absurd. But I get where you're going with it.
You know, my father, may he rest in peace, one of the reasons he retired from active working in the union was because they were giving them all pay increases, and my father said it was filthy money. In other words, the money was dirty. It wasn't honest money. It wasn't earned through hard work. He said, and I refused to sit there and take money. And, you know,
Robot.
damn it.
We're losing you again, brother.
All right, that's really weird. That's the second
Yeah,
time I
dude.
went to talk about the union and that happened.
Yeah.
Got the modified, dude.
The overlords are listening in.
Yeah.
Snoop's got the rotten pie. Oh no.
What I was saying though was my father left the union when they started giving him all the extra money. Same thing, you know.
But opposite.
His thing was it was dishonest. It was the money was tainted. It was earned. It was swindled money, and he would have none of that. No, it's a cheat. You're ripping off the taxpayers. This is not earned money. I won't have any of it. It's stained. It's tainted. And he retired from active and just stayed in as a legislator with the union due to that.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Six, how are you?
Hey, dude.
Fighting off a headache right now, but
I'm sorry.
okay.
Hope you get feeling better, bud.
This day has been a headache.
Dude, that
I
sucks.
know the feeling. I know the feeling very well, in fact.
Well, this show's not called IRATE Monday for nothing.
Oh, I've had a fun one, I can tell you, so I know where that headache comes from. Thank God I have cigarettes.
Dude, I can't even vape anymore inside my house now.
Why?
The apartment complex I moved into, cause I'm in the middle of doing all that. They don't allow you to vape or smoke inside.
Dude, that's crazy. Vape doesn't even smell
It's state
bad.
law now. It's state law here. It's state law. It's retarded. I don't listen to it.
Complete and utter bullshit. You're paying for that property. They can't tell you what you can and can't do with it.
If you're renting a place, I can understand that. But vaping, no. Like vaping, like it all smells good and it's not nasty. You know, secondhand smoke that will
unless you get the actual tobacco flavored shit, which I've had people blow in my face. I'm like, that's fucking sick.
Well, even that vape doesn't stain your walls like fucking actual cigarette smoke does.
But here's the kicker. State law also says you can only smoke marijuana indoors. Yet every apartment complex you move into says you can't smoke indoors.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Where are you?
So, Oregon.
She's out here, same area I'm in.
I walked into the grocery store the other day with my vape in my hand, and I'm from Texas, and I hit my vape in the middle of the store, and I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna get kicked out of the store. I totally forgot where I was.
You know, back, and here's what really pisses me off, Tennessee Marine. They also passed a law that makes it illegal for you to use tobacco products inside a car with someone under the age of 18. And vaping systems are considered tobacco products in the state of Oregon.
Even if they don't contain nicotine.
Even if they don't contain nicotine or THC.
Well, that's fucking dumb.
Yeah. Now, here's the kicker. Originally, couldn't do it with the windows up. But then they changed the law that you can't do it at all.
Well, I mean, I can't say much because, like I said, you know, I think if you're renting a place that's totally under the discretion of the place that you're renting from. But I mean, then again, I know guys who have apartments where they don't allow smoking and they fucking smoke pot in the apartment. So I mean, it's one of those things.
Yeah. Look at this. Manhattan, the 5 boroughs actually, for the most part, are tobacco free.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, it's up to about $20 a pack now for a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah, that's about where you have to get it to make it do that way.
Yeah, and you can't smoke in the restaurants, you can't smoke in the taxis, you can't smoke on the sidewalks, you can't smoke in the parks. And if you're renting an apartment, it's illegal to smoke.
Yep.
Due to secondhand smoke.
We kind of got the same thing up here.
Yeah.
Wait, so I can't smoke in the open in a park?
Nope.
No, you can't be within 25 feet of a minor, a window, or a door.
Yeah, and you're not allowed to smoke in anything designated a city parks department park. And due to secondhand smoke, you can't even smoke in an apartment building unless it's a hermetically sealed apartment building. In other words,
dude, that is faggy as fuck. What the hell?
Yep.
They tried to outlaw big gulps.
This is fucking lame, dude. Like, what
Yeah,
the fuck? If I was outside in a park, I couldn't light up a cigarette. Yeah,
No,
Nope.
you can't. You can't have a cigarette at a concert. You can't have a cigarette at a show. You can't have a cigarette at a.
And y'all holler about how bad the South is from time to time. Jesus.
Fuck, I want back.
I've never said anything bad
No
about this.
idea.
That's a personal troll for people who are listening. You know.
Yeah,
The
no, I
only
got it,
thing,
I got
the
it.
only thing we talk about the South is
Florida man, fuck yeah. Florida man, fuck yeah. DUI raw running in the dude.
Okay.
Oh God.
yeah. That's the
Okay.
only thing we talk about the South about is the Florida man stories.
Check this out. I want to give you guys an idea of how things work up here now. If you're within the 5 boroughs, specifically, let's use Brooklyn as an example. Let's say it's middle of the night, you get into an argument and a gun comes out and you pull out your gun and you fire back. They have these sensors that every camera now within earshot is now honed in on you, and because of the way that the laws work here, the cops can override it, and they have access, because it's within the New York City limits, they have access to facial recognition software. Basically, before you leave that scene, they know who you are, and they're in the process of getting a warrant out for you. That's
That is
how
1984
draconian
Orson
it's gotten.
Welles.
Yeah. Yes.
That is so 1984. I don't understand
Yeah.
why you people put up with that shit.
This is why I haven't been in Manhattan in a long time. It's not safe. I say this a lot. You guys have no idea. This is one of the reasons I'm desperate to try to get... if I could go in there, all I have to do is show you the video footage of Times Square, where all you see are communist flags everywhere. I think you guys will start taking my word for it.
Well, man, you saw the video I brought.
For it, man. I've seen the same thing downtown a lot.
You
Bro,
saw my
man,
freaking
There's
Mayday.
The cameras and the sensors that pick up gunshots is we have the Stingray system.
Yeah.
Yeah, see,
You
we
know,
don't have the
we're
advanced
about,
policing
like 3-4
systems.
steps behind you, but yeah, we're not far behind by much.
Yeah, and Mountain Man, when I'm talking communist flags, I'm not talking like the protesters. I'm talking about if you go there, there's a Jumbotron with the fucking communist flag from the Communist Party flashing across it at all times because it's paid for by the CCP.
Seriously?
May I get struck
How-
dead?
How the fuck can they afford that? They're a bunch of freeloading,
Yeah,
useless
no shit.
pieces of.
Where's that money coming
I'm
from?
telling you.
Find anything on the island of Manhattan that is not made in China. I'll be amazed.
Is it the old Soviet flag, Scoob?
No, it's the one
it's
with
the
the
Chinese
stars.
party
Yeah.
flag.
Got
It's
the
the
Okay.
Communist
yellow
Party
stars.
flag. It's the
I'm
yellow
sorry,
stars
guys.
on the red field.
I have to go. I have to go prep for my own stream that starts at 9. So
Yeah, not a
Yep.
problem.
Yeah, that's like
Okay.
in 3 minutes. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
3 minutes till 11 Central and 12 Eastern.
Well, I mean, hon, I might show up if you want.
I'm doing a pagan stream. It's not a chill stream this time.
Oh, I don't know anything about it. Then never mind. I offer redacted.
Next time I do a chill stream, though, you are definitely invited.
All right, cool.
Tim, you should yank a Veteran Mountainman in. He's a huge pagan.
Yeah, I know. He's supposed to be there.
Sweet.
Oh,
There's Scooby,
Later,
you,
Zatima.
and Veteran Mountain Man, Anti-Hero, and Cadunt, and me. So,
Cool.
Sounds like a great lineup.
Yeah, very cool.
yeah, it should be interesting. So,
I mean, I could always be the Christian and just like and you know. I could totally play a bit where I just come in and say everyone's going to hell, you know, denounce all of you, and you know, it'd be. I can do that. I could
Do the fire and brimstone Southern Baptist revival preaching.
Oh, dude, I could do that shit in real life.
Jeez.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, fucking, who's that one comic? Not Lenny Bruce. Fuck, fat guy, used to be a preacher.
Oh yeah.
Blonde hair.
Sam
Sam
Kinison.
Kinison.
Sam Kinison.
Get
Like,
out of the
I could
desert!
actually, dude, I could do that shit IRL. Like, don't even try me. But
Yes.
I'm intelligent enough to know that most Christian beliefs come from pagan beliefs, especially holidays. So I can't do that in good conscience.
Yeah.
okay. Well, thank you for having good conscience about it because I got shouted at a lot. when I started the stream the first time. So
Well, fuck them. Tell them to come fuck with me.
All right, Timma.
I will white knight for a Timma all day. Like, you
That's
don't even
right.
know. She good people.
She's good people.
Yeah.
Definitely
you
good
guys
people.
don't make me blush.
All right, take
So-
it easy. And
Take
Okay,
it
I'll-
easy on.
we
Yeah,
might as well go ahead and keep chilling since we're almost at the top of the hour and chill out if you want to.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, yeah, I'm Autumn of the Hun. You can find me at Autumn of the Hun on YouTube and The Tim of the Hun on Twitter. And Autumn of the Hun with some numbers after it on Discord. I think I'm the only one though.
Yeah,
So-
I'll put your stuff on here afterwards.
Okay, great.
Yeah, in the description.
Thank you.
You're
See you in a
welcome.
few.
All right. See you.
See you guys in a bit. Bye.
Bye.
Take it
Bye.
easy.
See you soon.
See you in a little bit.
All right. Tennessee, you got anything you want to show?
Yeah, don't be a dumb fat cunt on Twitter, and also, don't break hearts, break headboards.
Exactly. That's that's the saying that we should all adopt. Okay. Let's see who's next. Well, Six, since you came in, we'll go ahead and let you show. Since you've literally had hardly anything to say, man. Please share with us.
Well, I am, of course, the Next 6 Minutes. You can find me on the Next 6 Minutes channel. You have to spell out the word 6 if you want to find it. If you don't, then you won't. I also have the Next Live Streams channel, which I do most of my live streams from, unless I have the occasion of subbing for one of the other Chaos 120 hosts. I generally do that on my primary channel. That being said, this Saturday I will be subbing for Weebo Jones again. Look for me on my primary channel at 11 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow I have an interview with Messiah of Keck. So tune in to the Chaos 120 group channel. That is a different channel, of course, and it will be going down at, I believe it's 4 p.m. Eastern. 4 or 5 p.m. Eastern, I can't remember which. It's I'll have to look back at our Discord messages. I think it's 5 p.m. Eastern. Anyhow, just anybody who was following Twitter today knows that I was a bit upset about something, and I did actually get my package today. They
Good.
Yeah, so they did end up they did end up delivering the package finally. Though I feel a little bad because I kind of sent
That nastygram.
that nastygram. I'm toying with the idea of apologizing, but I don't know. They
Well,
yeah,
if
they
you
should
think you-
really
if you think-
change.
If you think
the
you
no-
should apologize, I would say apologize, but
Yeah, they should really change the nomenclature that they use on the website, because for all intents and purposes, I was led to believe that it had been delivered and left in a secure place. That's the terminology. That's the language that they used, that it had been delivered. So what was I to think? It's not in the office. It's not at my P.O. box. It's not in front of my door. Then I learned that they have this kind of habit of leaving that shit by the post office box kiosk outdoors. So it's like, hey, what exactly am I supposed to glean from that? What are the conclusions I'm supposed to draw? That somebody fucking filched my my package. So
Right.
that I was understandably a little off-put. So if I get a response back from the guy that I sent the email to, and I'll try to be a little more
cordial.
More cordial, less emotionally charged.
Fair enough. Irate, I actually do have something to show for the first time.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, tomorrow on Red Pill Sharks channel at 8:30 Eastern, we are going to be doing a interview with a pro soccer player from Venezuela, and he's going to have some very interesting discussions about socialism and what it's like to actually live in a country like that. So if you want to head over to Red Pill Sharks channel tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern, you can figure out the math if you live there anywhere else besides Eastern time. It'll be me, the host of the stream, Red Pill Shark, Sir Adamantine, which you all should know and should 100% love, occasionally at least. And that very famous pro soccer player from Venezuela. We're going to be discussing socialism and what it's like to actually live in a socialist country. So should be fun times, guys.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, Burnside, you want to shill?
Yes.
Go ahead.
If I doesn't get me, I actually have stuff to shill.
Go for it.
Okay, now that I have my ROG top back, I will be working on more reckless flaggatry. That's the line of flags, shirts, and other stuff I have on Redbubble. A lot of people are liking the Imperium of Mankind flag I made, but they have been bitching it's downright heretical. I don't have everything else up to par with it, so I gotta work on it or else I'll get called an ineptus mechanicus for the rest of my life or some shit. So, yeah, not good. Aside from that, we are in the process of getting Chronicles 6 done for Backline. While we were getting 5 together, Old Man Rizzo was filming for 6. So within the next month, I want to say roughly give or take, we'll have that done.
Halloween can be a lot of fun. You just got to be creative with it.
Oh, I've got a special plan for Halloween. Although, before I go and tell anyone about that, I'm going to wait for Inquisitor 8.1 and a few other people to be around. Because we has plans. Big plans.
All right, Veteran, you want to do your shill?
Sorry about that. I had a cross feed there. I am the Vetran Mountainman. I just got a Teespring up. I'm going to include the link to IRATE for him to update in the description. Also, you can find me on BitChute, YouTube, Minds.com, Gab.ai, and Twitter.
Okay, and let's see, Scooby.
You guys know the deal. I'm Scooby331. You can find me here on YouTube. I am on Minds.com, Gab.ai, Patreon, and PayPal. And I am still on Twitter as Scooby331, even though I am in limited state because Jack's a punk. I uploaded a video that I took about a week or two ago. I completely forgot about it. I was actually, don't ask me how, I wound up inside the old barracks for the National Guard depot that actually responded to 9/11. It has since been decommissioned, but the mural that was painted up there after the towers fell is still there, so I was able to at least get some footage of that mural. That video is up right now.
That's so cool.
Thanks. I might have a few more things in the works this week coming up, so just stay tuned and we'll see what develops.
Awesome. And I'm IRATE Prostate. On Thursday, I will be with Big Fat Brian as usual in the afternoon, and we'll be reviewing the movie Pandorum, which is became recently available on Netflix. And then 10 p.m. that night, I will be on the Cunt stream, the episode known as the Blackman Button, which I'll be shilling for somebody that is criminally undersubbed. Friday, we've got scheduled to have Gutenberg as the main guest. Saturday, Drinks with Friends, and then next Sunday, the ice cream interview will be it's scheduled right now to be with Ichabod Orange. So I encourage everybody to check all that stuff out. Like I said, please subscribe to everybody here. They're well worth it. This Chaos 120 is worth it. And on that note, I'm going to say goodbye, good night, and we'll see you later. Crew, let's rock. Out. Bye-bye.
Take it easy.
Later.